Hey everybody, this is Shahaf. Today is December 5th, 2022, and I'm here to update you on a few things. So I'm going to talk today about the Treasury. I'm going to talk about Djed. I'm going to talk about MultiDAG 2.0, gCOTI, iOS and Android, Ledger, um, and a few things about 2023. But first thing first, I'd like to dive in a bit about communications, etc., because I think we haven't been doing a great work recently, both in our group and in other channels. And I think that led to some of you not doing a great job in communicating with our moderators. So I've decided to set a few new policies in place. First of all, moderators will bring up questions coming from the community to a special sheet that we created with the development team, with the product team, with me and everybody else. And we've created a very short process to which will get you the information that you're looking for within the group. So you don't need to continuously ask the same questions. Usually we have all the answers, but in our flow, in our daily grind, we sometimes miss it. So we're going to fix that. Other than that, timelines. I know that most of you understand it, that when it comes to software development and when it comes to a lot of other projects, timelines are not set in stone. So when we give an estimate, what we mean is that this is what we think it will take us to complete a certain task or a few other tasks. That said, we will not compromise on security, quality of product. Sometimes there are dependencies beyond our reach when we're working with other vendors, and sometimes it just takes longer than what we thought. So this is why whenever we give a timeline, please see this as an estimate, not as an obligation, not even as a promise. This is what we think, and we're being transparent and telling you all about it. But please, see it in the right context, and don't be, hey, why are you delaying? We're not delaying. This is the circumstances, this is reality, and this is the level of quality we aspire to, and this is why we will not release it at that date, but on another date. With that said, we will be more transparent in what causes delays, what our circumstances are. A lot of these, in a lot of these cases, we kind of like take this a position of, guys, we will deliver it, don't worry, and we don't give you what's on our mind, because in reality it doesn't really matter. It will not make it faster, right? But I understand that you're grown-ups and you want to know why things are happening, so we'll tell you more. This will be our end of the bargain. Your side of the deal will be to be a bit better. And obviously I'm not talking on all of you, and I'm not even talking of the majority of people in our groups. But I'm talking about people that come in and I feel that the only reason that they are communicating is to be loud and to be provocative and to be pesky to the moderators. That we will not tolerate. I can ban people myself. I have this option on groups, and I will personally if people misbehave. You have all the right to criticize. You have all the right to ask questions, tough questions, whatever. That is a-okay, and that is actually good. It improves everybody. But if we feel that you're only there to create havoc, or you have an agenda because you hide behind a certain handle, and I don't know, maybe you're part of a community of another project and you envy or something, then we will probably ban you because you're not adding value to anybody in the group, and we're all on the same side here. So with that in mind, house cleaning is done, and we'll do better, and you'll do better, and it'll all be better. Let's talk about a few other things. Let's start with Djed. The audit is here. We've received it. The IOG team has reviewed it and also communicated with us. So Highlights. It's a good audit, right? No major vulnerabilities, nothing that we didn't already see, nothing that we weren't already working on. So that's great news. And we'll spend a couple of the next days in like preparing a remedy plan to whatever is on the audit to fix everything. So that is being done. And living in Israel, it means that we can work the entire December. We don't have Christmas. So a lot of work will be done in the coming weeks to make sure that we meet January as our release schedule. What we also plan on doing is deploying the testnet, the public testnet in Djed XYZ. This is planned to be in the coming days. So get ready for that. It should be a much better version, already compatible with everything. You will see sometimes that we take it off to do some maintenance, some downtime. That is planned, that is to be expected to, and this is how we test things. So get ready for that. I saw a few questions about, hey, you were waiting to Vasil hard fork, so why don't, so let me explain. The first testnet that we had out there wasn't compatible to Vasil at all, right? So the one that we'll see right now that is released, and version 1.11 of Djed that is due in January, will be compatible to Vasil. So there needed to be a lot of fixes in the smart contract so that it can be compatible. It still doesn't use a lot of the upside that we have in Vasil, and that is planned to version 1.2. So this is why we were waiting for Vasil, and this is what the upside is. So that will be in version 1.2. That is already being worked on and is the next version. So that was one big question. Another question was about open source, etc., etc. So Djed, like the code, will be open source. What it means and what it doesn't mean. It means that we are putting a front end in Djed XYZ, and people will go through that front end to not have to interact directly with the smart contract, because not everybody can do that. So that is the setup over there. And people ask, hey, what happens if I create another front end and that interacts with your smart contract? Well, great, please do that. It means that we will have other accesses to the same smart contract. It will grow the liquidity. And a question that people ask, hey, what happens with operational fees? It will still pay operational fees to COTI and hence to the Treasury, hence to you. So it will be great if other people build the same, other front ends to the same smart contract. What happens if someone looks at the open source, completely forks it and create another version, a different version? Well, you can do that. That's the meaning of open source. It's not Djed. It will not be Djed. It will not leverage the same liquidity. It will not have the same ecosystem. It will just be another thing. Okay, so I hope that answers all your questions. And it's great, by the way, to see how everybody's involved with it. There's a lot of good things happening right now and people realizing all the benefits of Djed. We've seen an article in Cointelegraph that says, a lot of folks are worried about algorithmic stablecoins. Well, first of all, I know a lot of people actually support Djed, and it was funny because there was a poll that Cointelegraph did asking, do you favor Djed? And the reaction was very good, actually. But still, they wrote that article. They have since edited the article, and you're welcome to see it, and actually now edit, why Djed is very different than Luna or other algorithmic stablecoins. And indeed, it's very different. By the way, I don't think that there is the notion stablecoins are bad or algorithmic stablecoins are bad. I think that's overgeneralizing a lot of things. It doesn't really encourage deep thinking because not all algorithmic stablecoins are the same, because not all algorithms are the same, right? This is and like waving it off like altogether is really spilling the baby with the water. But it's great that Cointelegraph actually changed their position. What else to be expected with Djed? So a few things. In the coming weeks, leading towards the January launch, will be very loud out there. So we have, I think, about 7 AMAs or Twitter Spaces, mainly in the Cardano ecosystem, but please join, bring in the COTI spirit. So that will be published and you'll see it. You can follow, obviously, at COTI Network to see the plan. Other than that, we are actively picking launch partners now. It will be DEXs, obviously, but they will be the ones that will bring in a lot of incentives. So like farming rewards, etc., for those who have Djed and Shen that are early on in that can join liquidity pools in these DEXs and reap all the benefits. So that is also actively happening right now. So that's Djed. Let's talk about MultiDAG 2.0. So essentially, we are like almost ready right now. The big thing that needs to happen now is obviously the hard fork, and within it, 2 big things need to happen. One, all the node operators need to upgrade and get ready for the fork. I don't see any issues with that. Node operators in COTI are techy and good, and I believe that won't be an issue. Where I'm a bit worried is when it comes to exchanges that run a node or an exchange app like Wobi and KuCoin. Not because they're not good, but again, it's dependency. So we are working with them right now, with Wobi and KuCoin that run a native COTI, of course, to make sure that they meet the deadline. Tech-wise, we're good to go. That said, gCOTI. So I thought that we'll do gCOTI for Christmas. That was the plan because it's very symbolic. But we will not do that. We will not do that because what I've just mentioned about MultiDAG and exchanges. And also because we're kind of like laser focused on MultiDAG right now and Djed. We want to make sure that we meet both things. So it will just add risk to things. So I'm pushing gCOTI probably towards the end of February, but we'll keep you posted. Doesn't really change anything, and you will still get gCOTI for free because you're supportive of COTI and you interact and help us promote the ecosystem, or because you use the Treasury. So that's still in plan, and we'll probably publish a few things before that, but generally speaking, and I told you how to think of timelines, plan for the end of February. Ledger. So I'll be the first to admit that this is the slowest integration in history. Some of it is on us, some of it is on Ledger, but everybody's now doing their best, and it's actually great to see how the community rallied for this. And one of the community members of COTI actually was in touch with Ledger, and this is what they wrote him, quoting, "We are in touch with COTI devs in order to release the Nano app. It is currently being reviewed, and we will inform you when the app is audited and ready to be published. We know your community is waiting for it. Thanks for your patience." So that is coming straight from Ledger, and this is actually what I've been talking about. It sits with Ledger. Wasn't an easy integration. Native DAG, Ledger has done great work, to be honest. It just takes a while, right? But it feels like we are getting there, and it's very close. People have asked about iOS and Android, and I'll be frank, this is not a priority for us. Just looking, well, first of all, because there's mobile web and people can interact with their mobile. And just because, we're just looking at the data, and most of the interactions with Viper and with the Treasury are all happening through desktop. So the apps are just not a priority. If it's great to have an app, right? But if we try to get everything done, we'll get nothing done. So for those of you who really favor the apps, I'm sorry, but it's not a priority. And when that changes, I will let you know. But please don't expect a lot from it for the foreseeable future. I just wanted to touch a bit on what we'll work on 2023, so you'll know what we're focusing on. First thing is Treasury 2.0. We love the Treasury, and Treasury 2.0 will bring in, it's like a complete revamp. Like a lot of new things will happen in the Treasury. The plan is to publish a white paper on it during January. We'll see if it's ready to be published, and it will probably have a timeline to when we expect to roll out a few things. But the Treasury will change dramatically, which reminds me to talk about fees. So we've done a bad job. We have released a new fee policy and told everybody that in 3 days that will come into effect. Sorry, it wasn't the right thing to do. We should have given people more time to kind of like process the idea behind everything, and we didn't. So we're doing two things. First, we've delayed that to January, and B, we are revisiting a lot of things, because when we send it out there, there's been a lot of feedback and actually very good ideas, and we probably should have done that. That should have been the plan, probably, to release like what we plan, take a lot of feedback, then decide and go live with things. So this is what we're doing right now. We plan to meet on it this week within our management team and revisit everything and then release it, and then it will be launched in January. So that's the plan for the Treasury. And again, thank you for the feedback. Treasury 2.0 will obviously, and again, looking to 2023, will obviously have a lot of connectivity to gCOTI, and there's a new stack being built out there. That's one thing. The second thing we'll be focusing on in 2023 is obviously Djed. And Djed will be the stablecoin with the greatest market share on the Cardano ecosystem. I think a lot of people understand it. I think some people fear it. I don't know why they would, but we've seen a lot of people coming from various communities that I will not name right now, but trying to FUD Djed a bit. I don't know why they would do that. I think Djed will be great for Cardano because it will grow the DeFi ecosystem in Cardano and transactions, and a lot of good things will happen to Cardano because of that. And there could be other stablecoins, and all promote the same thing, right? If let's say there's a big stablecoin on Cardano, and that grows the DeFi ecosystem for Cardano. That means that the next stablecoin that is coming to the ecosystem actually now has a bigger ecosystem to flourish on, which is great. So I think a lot of people misinterpreted what competition is. This is not a zero-sum game. And obviously, and this is the COTI community listening, and it's important to understand that the success of Djed will lead to a great success of COTI. And I'm not just talking about us being famous, right? I'm talking about fees, operational fees, that are flowing directly to COTI's treasury and then to you. So Djed is another big thing for 2023. COTI Pay business and enterprise tokens are obviously a huge focus for next year. We are already in development, and we'll keep you updated. And I think like next year is the year when products will come out of it and enterprises. Last thing, and I've kind of like debated with myself, should I talk about this now or not? Because it's very, very, very early on. But we plan what we call project name COTI V2, which is like a complete infrastructure rehaul. Very good things in plan. And we're adding new abilities. And I've mentioned that around regulation tech. Everybody understands that regulation will be very critical to the success of everybody in the coming years in crypto. And we have a plan. But enough said. We'll be working on that in 2023. I don't think we'll have like a live product in 2023 because this is, it's big and it takes a lot of time to develop. But obviously we'll be working on that next year. So the big 4 things for next year is Treasury 2.0 and gCOTI, Djed, COTI Pay Business and Enterprise Token, and COTI V2. In the coming weeks, we'll have like a big AMA. I think we haven't had one for a while now, other than me showing up in around midnight to the group and doing a spontaneous AMA. But we'll have a proper one with some lead time for everybody. But before we do that, please post questions. As I've mentioned, we have a better process now to surface it to the team and then get answers. Last thing. I've been told that some of you seriously think that I am a hologram and I do not exist in real life. So what I want to say is that you're absolutely right. And this text has been written by a ChatGPT. Great. No, seriously, guys. I'm a real person with kids and everything. We've moved to a new office, and this is why you may have seen a change of scenery. Can we kind of like have a photo of the new view that we have here because it's great. Yeah, proof of real person. Okay, I hope I've convinced you that I'm a real person. If I haven't, I will just need to try better next time. But until then, stay COTI, and we'll speak soon.